the analogy I mention all the time is like ants in the jar. People have heard about this one, maybe like a meme on Instagram, but it's stuck in my head. You got red ants in a jar, you got black ants in a jar. Could be white people, black people, could be Jews, Muslims, it could be Democrats and Republicans. Everybody's doing their own thing, going around, living their life, crawling up the twig, building their lamp farm, whatever, until some asshole shakes the jar up. Okay. Then they all go to war. Who's shaking the jar is my question then. The legacy media is shaking the jar, or globalists shaking the jar. Like, who is wanting us? Who is putting out this misinformation? Who is putting out this propaganda? If Russia's throwing fire on it and China's throwing fire on it, who started the fire?
We started ourselves.
Why?
In all intrastate conflict, the original kernel of conflict happens with a legitimate injustice inside the country, right? And we're no better or worse than any other country, right? There's all sorts of injustices that we commit against each other, right?
Okay.
Sometimes rich people get a favor, sometimes poor people get a favor, sometimes white people get a favor, sometimes black people get a favor. There's lots of instances where we do not treat each other or issues with true egalitarianism, with equality, right? All it takes is one of those instances, and then you've got a group of people who believe one thing and a group of people who believe another thing. And then when you have two groups, all you need is funding. And then as you fund one group and they get bigger and louder, you fund the other group and they get bigger and louder. And then eventually everybody has to pick a side. But we did it to ourselves. We've always done it to ourselves. All the way back to having a two-party system, we did it to ourselves. Why do we only have a two-party system? Why not diversify our own system of government to give other voices a chance? Because we have followed the same playbook for so long, we can't change the playbook. And as long as we don't change the playbook, everybody else knows the playbook too.
Right. Okay. What is the answer, though? Because nothing is getting better. And I am seeing people, for the sake of ego that you mentioned in the beginning, try to bring about the worst possible scenario just to say, I told you so. So, to give you an example, if we go back to Trump and the tariffs, I don't know if this is going to work or not. I do know why he's doing it. Mm-hmm. Could he have gone one territory at a time? Was there a way to be less bombastic? I'm sure, but there's no way to know if this was going to work because the courts hogtied him, as we had mentioned I had mentioned in the beginning of the show. Now we got to pay $60 billion back in tariffs. And we failed. You have ensured a failure just so you can say, is this what you voted for? It's your country.
Yeah.
It's your economy. How do you override that? It is crazy the things I have seen. And if we even table that just in my wheelhouse. And again, I don't mean to be redundant for anyone who's heard me talk about this, but in health, Kennedy is skeptical of fluoride in the water. We do have a pretty robust amount of data that when young kids take too much fluoride in, it impacts their IQ. And you've heard other doctors and other subspecialties warn of different things from a musculoskeletal perspective, thyroid function and endocrine system. When you Google, I swear to God, who profits off of fluoride in the water? It is really scary. It's toxic waste that they don't need to dispose of. And you kind of you're all right, this is definitely alarming. Let's explore this and get to the bottom of if this is necessary. How did we get here? But the minute Kennedy says, there's a lot to be worried about here. Oh my God, people want to put fluoride in an anal suppository. I have they will eat truckloads of petroleum-based food dye. What is that? I know you're saying it's part of their their survival, but to their own detriment.
I mean, there's a couple of things that you just laid out at the same time. And I want to start with the first thing, because I think the first question is the operative question. How do we fix it? How do we get better? When you consider human behavior only changes when the pain of the same behavior becomes more difficult than the pain to change the behavior.
Talk about this with weight loss all the time.
That's it. That's
make it more painful for them to be doing what they're doing
before they ever make a change.
Okay.
Right now, they don't feel the change. Right now, people don't feel the pain. Right now, people feel like the pain that they're feeling can be isolated to another party, another cause, another political movement, the president. So they're still pinning their pain on somebody else.
Victim
mentality. Rather than fixing it themselves.
Metaphors with weight loss are staggering.
It's not even a metaphor. Like, the reason your knowledge base about weight loss is so accurate and so powerful is because it's not tied to weight loss. It's tied to human psychology. Yeah. It's why you can change someone's life, whether they're Arabic and female or whether they're Latino and male. Even if they don't speak your language, it still works because it's tied to human psychology. It's tied to the pink matter that's common among all people, just like we talked about at the beginning of this conversation, right?
Okay.
I am staunchly working towards getting my children and my family out of the United States because I want them to have opportunities that I want my family to have that simply don't exist inside the United States anymore, because the United States is on this path towards self-destruction.
It's so scary.
So on that, not complete destruction, but we are creating more pain for ourselves, and that is going to go on for years before we all agree that this pain sucks and we turn the corner and come back up again.
You're saying this is going to get way worse.
It has to get worse. It has to get worse before it gets better. We're not even at the low, right? Think about what comes after Donald Trump. Think about, are we going to swing to the other side again?
Go AOC.
Or are we going to swing further to the right because people are going to be that much? What happens next? You think right now sucks? You've been down this path before, America. You know what happens when Donald Trump's in the White House. You have no idea who's going to get elected next. And will that be a 1 or a 2-term president? Because that's 8 more years of your life, right? Or will it be another 4 years on, 4 years off, 4 years in, 4 years out?
Uh-huh.
We don't have any idea, but all indicators show that America is on the decline. The US dollar is on the decline. Our sphere of influence is on the decline, right? We have plenty of strength still in us, but we're not willing to unlock it. We're not willing to tap into it, right? There's plenty of indicators that show that we're getting better, right? There are more young people who are willing to adopt or even consider a conservative point of view in addition to a liberal point of view. That means there's more centrists from younger generations. That's an important factor. Rather than having extremists in younger generations, which is what we're used to, we're having centrists in younger generations. Those younger centrists will grow into adults who should be center, but they're a long way from being that now. 12, 14, 18, even if you're a college person
with a 13, 15,
even if you're a college kid with a balanced political perspective, you don't actually have revenue generating capacity to be significant to your society until you're in your 40s. So what happens for the next 25 years while that 25-year-old grows into a 50-year-old, right? So we have a future that could be different, but our near-term future is not going to be different.
I gotta give him something for
something positive. You want to end on a good note?
Give me a good note and give me like and let's circle back to the beginning at the end of the ways in which they can learn from you and utilize their skill set to improve the quality of their lives. So let's go macro and then micro hope. You're on.
So,
oh my God.
The macro hope, right? The thing that I'm optimistic about is that we're waking up to this reality now. Okay. We were blind to it before COVID, 2015 in the heart of the global war on terror. We were still blind, very blind to the realities of the world that we lived in, very blind to the stack that we were standing in because we were still distracted. Well, now the lights are on, the nightclub is over, and you see what they really look like. And you're kind of like, well, right? Well, I had a little bit too much to drink and my fly is down and I'm going home with an ugly chick. I see it for what it is now. And now I get to choose, do I commit to this path or do I change my decisions? Right? That's where we are as a country.
Not just unattractive. She has like herpes, simplex 5000, anal warts, all kinds of things. This girl has. Yeah,
I don't have to commit to this.
That's an unattractive girl. Okay, gotcha.
CIA believes that all people are born with a spy secret superpower. For some people, that means they can win deals. For others, they can spot liars. Some can even seduce lovers. I built a free 3-minute test to help reveal to you exactly what your secret hidden superpower is. All you have to do is click on the link in the description below, take the test, and start using your spy superpower to stay ahead of 99% of people.
So that's part of the benefit. We can make that change. We have seen it for what it is.
Okay.
That I see as a very optimistic thing. I also think it's an optimistic thing that we are entering into what I call the age of intelligence. We are leaving the age of information. The age of information was the last 15 or so years, where it was all about get more information, get more data, more data, more data, more data. Now we realize not all data is equal, not all data is useful, not all data is even true. So now we're trying to find a way to synthesize the data that we collect. Whether that is AI or self-improvement or performance improvement, whatever it might be, we're all trying to invest in our own knowledge base, meaning our capacity to pull meaningful information from all of the other information. Another way of saying the signal from the noise. There's lots of indicators that show reasons to be optimistic.
Okay.
But we have to turn this ship around
before it gets better. I understand that.
Yeah. And
dark is before the dawn kind of concept, and it's just like dusk right now.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's not something that we need to be fatalistic about. We're still America. We're still the only country in the world that was built on our own backs of innovation and independence. We still have all the streaks of Americans that run through our blood. We may forget that we're as strong and as rich and as powerful as we are because we get distracted by other bullshit. But we're still strong and rich and powerful inside, right? Everybody else is still copying us. We're still the ones that know the playbook best, which means that if we make a change, they have no idea that change just happened. They have to see it from the outside. We have a lot to be optimistic and a lot to be proud of. We just have to be willing to exercise a different move. We have to be willing to accept some old systems have to break, some new systems have to be built. We have to understand we've got to make different choices between convenience and security if we want long-term security. If what we want is short-term convenience more than long-term security, we're going to be in that pain palace for a long time.